No. So what I've done so far is so I use my phone and I turn the volume up like just a little bit and then play the video on YouTube of the song that I want. So that way it gets the sound and it gets the whole video or like all of the content that I want. Um, do I not have iMovie? Oh my God. Okay. So you want iMovie. That's what I use for all of my cutting. Um, oh no, I do have it. Okay, we're good. So you also want to have an idea of what you want. Okay, I think it should still be screen sharing this one. So you want an idea of what you want for lyrics. So we are going to use the song Labor by Paris Paloma as our example because this is what we're using for Rise, which is very exciting. Um, so my plan is to include all of this for sure. All of this for sure. Um, as much of that as possible, all of this, about half of this, and then the second half of this because it's like a repeat. Um, and then I think all of this. Okay. And we've said as a group that we want it to be no more than 3 minutes. And the song is about um, the song's about four and a half, four and a half. So we're gonna start by making a movie. We're going to input, and we're going to add in this video. Okay, so the song is only 4 minutes long, so that is good. That's a good sign. Okay, so sometimes it does that if you just add it straight in like that. So sometimes you need to go into your photos and like add it manually, which is a little bit annoying, but such is life. So I'm going to take this from here and I'm just going to add it straight in. And you'll know it works if this stays blue, which here it's not. So we're gonna try just doing that and see if that works. No. Oh, it started turning blue, but then it did not turn blue. I'm gonna try playing it and see if there's music. I can't hear anything. Okay, so it's not really playing though. Okay, so the video itself is not playing. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna play the video here to make sure that it worked. Okay. Off this island. This was on your screenshots. So it definitely worked. So now we're gonna try to just bring this video. Really, I'm really trying hard here. It's probably because there's a lot going on. Okay, so there's a sound. So you can see the sound right here. What we're gonna do now is we're going to uh, detach audio. So that way we can just work with the audio and we don't have to worry about like any sort of video cutting. Um, so now we can scroll down a little bit and we can trim using like cues from the audio itself. So this is good if you're trying to like overlay certain sounds so that you can get the right cut. In this case, we're gonna want to do that a few times. Very likely. Can I just like bring this up? I just want more space, really. Okay, so that's how much space I'm gonna get. So I want to start it like as soon as the audio really starts. And there was no ads beforehand, so I should be able to do that. So I can split the clip here. And that'll make this cut right here. And so now I can delete that section. And now when I start playing the audio. Excellent. So that's what we want. So the next plan is then going to be to take out the second half of the first verse. Waves below. So that's sort of right around where it stops. So one of the other pretty critical things that I want to highlight here while I'm still on Zoom, because I'm gonna like cut this together so that you can sort of see the end product and also like see some of the different things they do. So I'll just do one example here. I'm gonna find the part that I want to cut in, and there's sort of like a weird like drum thing going on. So I'm gonna try to get the drums to sort of fade in so that it transitions really nicely into the chorus. To feel your words and the sharpest thing that I'm getting fucking tired. So, okay, that's sort of where the drum starts. So I'm going to split this clip, and for these purposes, I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to bring this down here. So now, okay, so now we've expanded our range here, which is awesome. And what I want is I want the beat to stay the same. So I'm going to zoom in, which I'm just using my two fingers and going like this on the trackpad. And so usually when you zoom in, you can see like, so see like how the volume spikes here and spikes here in this top version. So that's usually where the beats are. And dive into the okay, so see how that's slightly off and the beat doesn't really line up. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go like there so that I can figure out exactly where the beat is. And dive into the waves below. Okay, and then here. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it so that it's like there-ish. Then this little dot here, you can drag that so that it fades. And you can drag, you want to do sort of top and bottom so that they fade into each other. Dive into the waves below. Okay, so that's like slightly off and also a little too aggressive on the drums. So I'm gonna also move this over slightly. Waves below. Also a little off, but definitely better. Let me back up. And dive into the waves below. Okay, now that's too far forward. And dive into the waves below. Okay, so see how that sort of blends together really nicely. Sometimes if it's a softer song, I'll blend heavily on one side and heavily on the other. So you can stretch this out really far. But in this case, it doesn't feel super necessary because you just want to get the overlay. And also the drums on this bottom clip are pretty loud. So I am gonna keep it short. Whereas if it's like soft and like background music, then you can flow together a little bit more. Okay, great. I'm gonna stop here. Okay, hello. So the last big um piece of information here is how, so I finished editing everything. There's some real gems in here. This is maybe a favorite, so I'm gonna play it. And they shift to attend him so that he never I think God 24/7, baby machine. Okay, so it's great, basically, is the point. Or it's exactly how I want it, which is sort of how you want it to get so that when you're playing it over your iMovie, it sounds exactly how you want it. Um, like if anything sounds off, like I advise keep working on it until you're really happy with it because it is what you'll be listening to for like anywhere from 1 month to 3 months, depending on what your schedule looks like. But like you're going to be listening to it for a while, so make sure that it sounds really good. Um, I honestly think that doing the work now makes it worthwhile later. Like I've spent maybe 20 minutes doing this and it like sounds pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I have also spent a lot of time listening to it just on my own. Like I've listened to the song, I've really internalized it. I know what I want it to sound like and I know what I want the cuts to sound like. I know what I want the cuts to be too. Um, and so knowing those things will make the cutting a lot easier, make it a lot quicker. Also, once you have practice in iMovie, it just gets really quickly, or it happens really quickly. So the next thing to do is going to this share button here. And from here, you go to export file. And then, so I'm gonna say labor, and I'm gonna export it as audio only. And then I'm gonna make sure that it's MP3. And so this way it'll play off of your iTunes, like Apple Music. And I save it to my computer and then I send it to myself over text or send it to the group chat with the other vague leaders in it so that we all have it. Um, Sometimes it's helpful to also save it in like your iCloud files if you have that, because then that way you can access it from any of your devices. So if you need to play music for some reason off your iPad one day, like you can. Um, so I'm gonna save it to, I have a dance file somewhere, but of course I don't know where. Nope, it's in this. So I'm gonna save it. And then this wheel here will tell you how long it's got until it's done. For longer songs, it'll take a little longer, especially if you have more complicated cuts. Sometimes it'll take a little longer. These are all of your projects. So in a given year, you'll have anywhere from like 3 to 5 probably if you do two dances in the fall and two dances in the spring, plus your grade level dance, that would be 5. Um, if you can spread the wealth and get other people to learn how to cut, that would be also super awesome for you. And you don't have to cut everything. But I find it to be a pretty satisfying process, and you get the full say in what your music sounds like, which I think is super gratifying. Um, and yeah, it's overall pretty simple. So thank you for watching, and I hope that this was helpful. Um, and I wish you the best of luck in your big journey. Yay!